Hello, guys. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. Can you see me? Honestly, guys, I am the biggest fraud you will ever meet. It's not a Wolves player. It's not some Leicester players that will come on to as well, and it's me. My computer's on the brink of dying, and I've got the laptop on. So, Scott, and get your insults out of the way, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, basically bringing shame to the channel. I think everyone can see that, but hopefully it's all good, and we'll forgive you from then. And I'll just let Ant insult you now.
No, I'm going to start off polite. The further into this we get, that's probably going to change. But I'll start off polite and say thank you for inviting me onto the channel. Now we've got that out of the way, I can be a prick.
Yeah, guys. Obviously, make sure to subscribe to Ant's channels. Obviously, everyone in our prediction league, as usual, the links to their channels are down in the comments description. So make sure you press that subscribe button. And does some great vlogs. I love your Leicester vlogs, Ant. So, guys, even if you're not a Leicester fan, worth checking those out. But yeah,
absolutely.
Let's jump into it then with our usual format. We'll firstly go through our predictions, cover the other streamers in our prediction league, and then finish off by looking at the table.
What I don't like about this is that not only have I lost my laptop, I've lost my dignity, I've also now lost the intro to you. I've literally lost almost everything.
You don't deserve an intro. Let's bring up the results. The predictions.
Yes, and I've actually remembered this week to actually highlight some results that I think are worth talking about. There aren't many. I think there's quite a few. Most of the fixtures this week, you can never predict these things, but you think you kind of know which way they're going to go. And we're going to start off with the big one, probably apart from Chelsea and Liverpool. This is the biggest game of the season. This will really, set the cat amongst the pigeons. If City win this game, which I think they will, and so does Ant, Scott doesn't, you've got to say Chelsea.
You think Chelsea will win it?
What, this match or the league?
Oh, okay. I thought you were on about the match.
No, I am on about the match, but I think if Chelsea win this match, I think then they're clear favourites for the league. And you've also gone for a home win. Is it a 50-50 for you, or do you actually think it's...
I think the thing with City at the moment is they're not playing particularly well. They're scraping through games. Chelsea looks so assured and so confident in every game that they're playing at the moment. I've just struggled to see Man City scoring against them, which is a ridiculously mad thing to say when you look at the attacking talent Man City have. But Chelsea, with their five at the back, just looks so defensively solid. But they're also so good going forward as well. So I think it's early to say it, but I think if they win this game, they are favourites to go on and win the league.
Well, you've gone for a draw, Scott. That's why I highlighted it.
I've gone for a draw. I feel like this may not be. Obviously, these ties are often cagey. I've gone, if we go back to it, I've actually gone for a 2-2 draw as well. I don't see it as a cagey affair. I think there'll be an early goal, but we'll really open this up. And I think for the neutrals, we'll be on to a bit of a spectacular. I actually fancy City to go 1-0 up, and I think that could then set up a draw. I'm going to jump onto another game that people might think, what the hell is this guy on about in terms of a draw? Obviously, I've gone for a draw, Man United Villa. I've got to admit, the cracks are starting to show with Oli. He's starting to look more and more of a fraud. And I think Villa have got confidence. Villa are going to have a bit of confidence, obviously, off the back of their win last weekend. They unfortunately lost on penalties to Chelsea, but I still feel that they'll have some confidence from that result in general. And yeah, I really fancy them to go and get a draw, get a result against United. I think pressure's building on Oli. And obviously you've gone for a 3-0. You're expecting a United dominance, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's more the fact that I don't see United struggling that much against Villa, because yes, Villa got a great result against Everton and stuff, but I think Villa are very inconsistent, particularly without Grealish, and I think that result against Everton's probably going to be more of a one-off for them. Sure. So it's more for the strength of United than anything about Villa.
The one thing that does worry me is, of course, obviously Mings and Konsa at the back. They don't look as obviously as clear and as strong as they did last year, do they?
No. I think Mings I've always said it, I think Mings is massively overrated. I think Cons is a much better defender. But I don't know, it's hard to say because you get back into that rhythm, particularly as a defender, of like defending with your partner and stuff. But they haven't looked great so far this season at all, apart from the Everton game.
Yeah. No, I do completely agree. I think there will be a home win. I don't think it'll be as convincing as you've put it, but I do think they'll get the 3 points. Coming on to Everton and Norwich, and again, me and Ant have both gone for home wins. Scott, you've gone for another draw. Your first 3 fixtures, you're punting for draws. And I mean, Everton have got a few players missing, and I didn't realise this until we did our segment yesterday on the Blue Boys Network. Shout out to Mike over there. And he said, Luca Digne came off injured against QPR the other night, so he's out. You've also got Coleman, who won't be playing, so they've got that young Kenny. Richarlison and DCL are missing as well. I would have put 3-0, probably 3-1 Everton before I heard that news. Now I think they might only just scrape it.
Yeah, the thing is with Norwich, they play decent football, but they just don't put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Everton, as good as the 3-0 win, as good as they've been, just apart from a 3-0 loss to Villa, they haven't played incredible football, but they've been getting some very good results. So I'd expect that to carry on, even with these players coming out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Obviously, going back to it, I've gone for a draw. I must admit, I originally put an Everton win, but after speaking to Mike, he really doesn't seem confident. I believe he's matched your score, James, with a 1-0. But yeah, I just fancy Norwich to get a goal, and I don't think Everton will score more than one. Guys, moving on to the next game, Leeds West Ham. We're actually going to do a watch along to this. So if there's any Leeds or West Ham fans that are watching, make sure to join us. I think it's going to be a really exciting game, and it was a hard one to predict. But I think West Ham are going to want to. They've got that. Obviously, they've got their win at midweek. They've got that buzz about them at the moment, and I think they've kind of dropped off slightly in the league, didn't they, with a couple of results? So I really think they're going to come back with a bang. Looking at it, you've also matched me, Ant. So you've also gone with 2-1. 2-1 win. What were your thoughts behind that? Pretty much the same as me, or is it just due to Leeds' weakness at the moment?
I think Leeds have looked vulnerable, particularly compared to last season. But West Ham, I was expecting them to struggle slightly this year, but they've still looked very, very decent. And I think they'll just probably be too much for Leeds. And West Ham are one of those teams that will love to sit back and counter-attack. And when you're playing against Leeds, that's like the perfect way to beat them. So
it's a perfect point, yeah.
Like everything's set up for a West Ham win, which is probably why all 3 of us are going to look stupid at the weekend when Leeds turn them over.
Yeah, that's it. Like, we've all got the exact same result. So honestly, guys, if Leeds do actually win 4-0, you unsubscribe from this channel. We don't know what we're talking about. That's the best thing to do. Coming on to your team, which is Leicester, I've highlighted my result, and I think it was also Michael, the Sunderland fan. He's gone for the same result. It's really the only one for me that I thought was a bit out there. I don't know why. I know as unconvincing as Leicester have been this season, I just feel like they're going to do Burnley. I think they're going to score 3 or 4. I think Burnley might get one because they're dangerous on set pieces, maybe a dodgy penalty, I don't know. But I just got a funny feeling about Leicester this weekend. I think they might kick on. I think we might see a bit of a change up front as well.
Is that we're going to have 3 shots on goal, or is that we're going to score 3 goals? Because it doesn't. I don't think we've had 3 shots on goal so far this season. So
I've got a feeling.
I was going to say, let's give you the stage with Leicester. Do you agree with James? Do you think there's that turnaround coming? Have you been a bit unlucky, or is there just something that's not quite gelling with you guys at the moment?
I think there's quite a few factors. Like our defensive injuries have been horrendous, which that in itself, that's enough to hamper us. But then we've got Brendan Rodgers, who's got. I love what Brendan Rodgers has done at Leicester. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a brilliant manager. But he's got his favourites of picking out-of-form players like Maddison, who, again, very good player, but his form is horrendous, and it has been since the back end of last season. Not picking players like Iheanacho, who's whose goals and assists match up to like Lewandowski's from February onwards last year, and then he's putting him on the bench, and it's like it doesn't make sense to me because like every time Iheanacho comes on the pitch, we look more dangerous, we look more likely to score because not only does he bring goals, he brings other players into the game and stuff, which is something ultimately Maddison isn't doing at the moment. So it's frustrating that probably our most informed player isn't getting minutes. I think he should be the first name on the team sheet, but Brendan Rodgers doesn't seem to see it that way, which is annoying a lot of Leicester fans. I think Lookman as well, he's looked very lively.
Yeah.
But he's just, for some reason, he can't seem to find his way into the starting 11. So, yes, we've been very, very poor at times, but I'm hoping if we start to see Iheanacho and Lookman, but there is definitely a turn of fortunes around the corner.
And I think looking at your team, there definitely is going to be. And I think maybe, there's kind of that adjustment where me personally, I feel that Vardy's maybe starting to lose that 1 yard pace. Maybe, you need to phase him out. And I think that's why Dak has been brought in. So, but yeah, I think the positive is we've all gone for obviously the Leicester win. I think a lot of people would, especially over Burnley. And coming onto a game where I feel, this could potentially, the way it's looking, especially the way Newcastle are at the moment, this could end up a potential relegation scrap later in the year. But I don't know. I kind of feel from what I've seen of Watford so far, there's just something about them for me where I kind of feel that some people might tip it for a relegation battle further on in the year. I kind of feel they're finished quite comfortable in mid-table. I've been quite impressed with what I've seen so far. And that's
mid-table.
The Watford win. Obviously, looking at it, I'm the only one to go for the Watford win. James, you've gone for a draw, but you've actually gone for a Newcastle win, Ant. So what was you thinking behind that? Especially, obviously Newcastle not playing too well at all this season and definitely a lack of firepower.
I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those games that could go either way. And if I'm honest, it was just a bit of a guess because both of these teams will be there or thereabouts within sort of, I'd say, the bottom 5, 6. So it's one of those that could go either way. And I think Watford, they've had some good games, particularly against Villa this season. Newcastle, they looked very good against Leeds last week. So they've got the potential to really hurt teams. And that's what I've gone on this for. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if Watford won.
Well,
Scott,
I mean, one thing that we can all say is at least one of us is going to get a point here, aren't they? At least 1 point because we've all gone for different results.
That's true. But Scott, did you say Watford are going to finish mid-table?
I think so, yeah.
Why did we skip over that point? What are you talking about?
I've been relatively impressed from what I've seen of them so far. I know they've had the results haven't been quite there, but even against us when we beat them 2-0, I thought they looked quite good defensively, even though despite that 2-0 loss. And I do think something will click with Watford. I really do.
When you say mid-table, do you mean like 8th or 9th? Or
no, more like the 14th, 15th. I just don't think they'll be in that battle.
That's not mid-table.
I just meant not relegation.
What kind of channel?
It's been a long day. Leave me alone.
This is meant to be a serious football channel, and we've got... Oh, God. Let's move on. Liverpool Brentford, and give us your reasons why you've gone for a Liverpool win, mate.
I think Liverpool, they've looked brilliant throughout the season, same as Brentford. Sorry, Scott's proper thrown me by that. But like,
imagine dealing with this all season, mate.
But
where do you think you'll finish this season? Mid-table? Oh, about 9th? No, about 15th.
No,
I've had enough. I think I've got to go. I've had enough. Liverpool Brentford, and you've gone for an away win. Not as convincing as me, but you've matched Scott. Do you think Brentford might nick one, being at home with the fans again?
The thing is, I've gone for a 2-1, but I think it would be like a comfortable 2-1, if you know what I mean. I think Liverpool will control the game, as they've done most of their games this season, but I think Brentford may well nick a goal sort of towards the end, consolation kind of thing. But I think Liverpool, I don't think they'll win the title this year. I think they'll be finishing 3rd, but they have looked very impressive so far this season.
Yeah, I think this might be a bit of a wake-up call for Brentford. I know they haven't had any big games yet at home. unless you want to count Arsenal. But if we're being real, they've had no big game. I think they'll enjoy it. I think it'll be a nice day out for them, see some good players. But I think it will be a bit of a reality check.
You sounded really bitter about last week when you said that.
Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it.
I mean, let's move on to the next fixture. Obviously, Wolves. It's an interesting one out. We've got to bring it up because we've brought it up every week, and the ones that you've not been on. I don't think you've predicted us to win a game yet. And you know what? Can we really have a go at you? Because so far you've been accurate. I mean, I've not gone for a Wolves win. James hasn't gone for a Wolves win. But yeah, so far I don't think you've predicted one Wolves win. But we can't really be that angry at that, to be honest. But again, you think we'll lose to Saints?
To be fair, I've been pretty accurate with that, apart from
I know.
So you can't really.
Honestly, I wish we could have a go at you for it.
I don't think you've predicted even a draw for us, or maybe one. I think, but yeah, you haven't.
I'm digging myself a hole here on a Wolves channel, aren't I? I'm making myself one. But the thing is, I do think you'll do well under Bruno Lage, or however you say his name. But I just don't. You don't have the players to score the goals to play the style of football that he's trying to play. So you're going to batter teams like you battered Leicester and United. But if you don't have the player to put the ball in the back of the net, what's the point?
It's playing the back five. It needs to disappear, along with a lot of our players in our squad, to be honest. But yeah, I think we might get a draw. If you'd have said at the start of the season a 1-1 away at Southampton, would you take it? I'd have said no, but now I'll probably take that.
I think as well, Southampton have been surprising for a lot of people, how decent they've been. Obviously, they got a draw against United. They got a draw against City. I had them as a team that would seriously be scraping a relegation battle, but they have looked seriously solid. I can't think of the lad's name that they've signed from Chelsea, the young right back, but he looks a really good player. So they've got, So the fact that they're bringing in some decent players, and you're starting to see the best of players like Gineppo. Ward-Prowse is also starting to play decent. Carrying on to play at a decent level. I think Southampton have been one of my surprise package of the season so far.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think from a neutral point, I wouldn't be surprised to see obviously those people betting against Wolves because we really haven't got the goals. Let's move on to the probably one of the bigger games of the weekend, this North London derby. And again, what's really interesting to see is we've all gone for different results. James, you've gone for the draw. Ant, you've gone for the Spurs win. And I've gone for that Arsenal 2-1 win. Obviously, you've gone for the Spurs win. But do you think this is going to be critical for both of the managers' future here?
I think with Nuno, you've got to give him that a little bit more of a grace sort of period because with Arteta, I know they try and make it sound as if he's like some new appointment and stuff with the PR that comes out of Arsenal. He's been there for quite a while in terms of like a modern manager. Yeah. So I think there's a lot more pressure on Arsenal in this game than there is Spurs, particularly seeing the fact it's at the Emirates. But also with Arsenal, I think there's that expectation as well that you can't lose to Tottenham. With Tottenham, it's never nice to lose a derby game, but they've lost more than Arsenal have. Yeah. So not that it's acceptable, but it's I don't know how to word it, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of them. We're going to actually do a full video on this tomorrow, so we'll dive into that in more detail. But I think from a manager's perspective, it's going to be massive. Let's cover the last game then. Obviously, Palace Brighton. I've been impressed with Brighton so far. James, you've obviously also gone for a win. I know me and you both rate Graham Potter massively, don't we?
Yeah, I love Graham Potter. He should be at a bigger club, really. He really, really... No disrespect to Brighton. If any Brighton fans are watching, you'd probably say the same. Bit like how we felt about Nuno after the first season or two, you know, FA Cup semi-final, Europa League quarter-final. We're thinking he's destined for big things, and I do feel that about Potter. You've gone for the draw. To be honest, it's not really an out there result from yourself, and if this finished 2-2 or 0-0 or 1-1 or 1-0 either side, you know, these are the games that are hard to predict because Palace scored 3 against Spurs. Brighton have won only lost once this season, I think. So, it can go either way.
Yeah. And last week, I went down to the Amex, and that was painful. Thanks to the linesman.
Reminding you.
Yeah. But thanks to the linesman, gave me a miserable Sunday. But you've got to give credit where it's due. Brighton play some brilliant football.
They did.
And as you say about Graham Potter, if Brendan Rodgers does go at the end of the season, which rumours are that he might, but then we've had those rumours since basically the first month that he's been at Leicester. I've always said I want Graham Potter to be the next Leicester manager if Brendan Rodgers moves on. I rate him so highly. So I think with Brighton, they're in a good place at the moment. They've brought very well in the summer. But you could say the same about Palace as well, with Vieira coming in, and they've also brought very well with the differences. I think Palace at the end of last season, their squad was a state, but they've brought in some really, really good signings in terms of Joachim Anderson. I forget the lad's name, but they brought him from Chelsea, the other centre back. So they've just brought brilliantly across the board. So it's one of those. It's an exciting game, and it's officially a derby as well, isn't it? Which I find a bit strange.
It's the derby that no one understands apart from Brighton and Palace. It's just weird. They're not even close.
They call it the M something, like the motorway derby.
M23, isn't it?
That's it.
If your derby is called the M23, forget about it. Come on, let's be real now. Find another team. Find a closer club. We've got to start being real. Forget Palace, forget Brighton. Just having the worst derby in the UK, we shouldn't talk about them again. Fuck them.
Right, on to the next. Go on. Let's see everyone else's predictions then. Let's bring them up, and we can.
Let's move on before we piss off every Palace and Brighton fan in the country.
Basically, Anthony.
I've gone too far. There we are. I got excited then.
This is the part where we just pick apart everyone else's, and they can't defend themselves because, well, they're not on the channel this week.
Well, there's only two that I can see that are worth pointing out. Scott, was it you that said 2-2 for City and Chelsea?
I did, yeah.
And then he's also gone for a big away win. Obviously, Tommy is a Spurs fan. For anyone that doesn't know, he thinks. But in fairness to Tommy, we all said that there'd be goals in that game, didn't we? We just had different results.
Yeah, I must admit, I can't see 3-2, but I think he's probably just he's excited, isn't it? It's the North London derby for Tommy, so he's going to be absolutely buzzing for it, I imagine. And is there any results there that make you really think, what the hell's going on here?
Can we go to the 1-1 Leicester versus Burnley?
Tommy again. Tommy's getting all the smoke on this one, isn't he? Again, yeah. That's an interesting one. I think he's the only one not to back Leicester this weekend.
Is it out there?
I want to argue with Tommy, but I worry that could be quite accurate, which is kind of the state that we're in at the moment.
That's the thing with the form you're in, and when your luck's not going against you. Believe me, we've had loads of that last season, injuries last season, just like you've had. If Burnley came away from the King Power with a point, you wouldn't sit there and go, "That's what a shock." It'd just be like, "Oh, bad game for Leicester," but they're not playing well anyway.
For sure, and they've definitely, they've got elements where Burnley can get a goal, and obviously Leicester are still waiting for that turn of fortune. Let's obviously just finish off on Michael's and.
Well, there's one more I forgot to highlight. Maybe I should have. He's gone for a Newcastle win, Brad.
He has, yeah. I think that matched you, didn't it? And you went for the Newcastle win as well. So someone's siding with you on that one.
You've got one friend that's not on the stream. Michael's got a couple. I love these. He's gone for a big home win like me. He's also gone for a very, very small Liverpool win. But he thinks Arsenal might spank Spurs.
That's a prediction that I feel that I would usually make back in Arsenal heavily, and it never works out, does it? Maybe it's time for the Pepe. I've been backing him all season. He's not delivered yet. Maybe today's the week. But interestingly, I've got to point out, guys, if you don't know, Michael's a Sunderland fan. So the fact that he's predicting them to get a result against Watford makes me a bit worried. But it looks like both of these guys have backed that Leicester win. So only Tommy that you've got to have beef with.
I'll wait till after Saturday 3:00 till I say anything.
Yeah, Wait, get the result first.
Yeah, I could. The thing is, I'm normally well gobby saying, "Oh, you," and stuff on Twitter, but at the moment, I've got no confidence in the fact on Saturday that we're going to go and get 3 points.
Well, welcome to our world.
And let's just finish off, James, quickly on the table.
I didn't know. I thought you might have forgot that, Scott. One moment. Let me just get it up on screen here for the millions at home.
I'm quite happy about it this time because, of course, I am actually level with Ant. I've climbed from my bottom place into the nice mid zone. Unfortunately, you're pulling away at the moment, but I mean, Ant, you dropped 2 positions last week. Are you predicting a comeback? Is this going to be your week?
This is painfully reminiscent of us at the end of last season, isn't it?
Yeah, just at the start.
Slowly.
Hold on.
I thought on the first week I was only 1 point behind James, wasn't I? And now I'm just slowly falling further and further down the table.
And I don't want to annoy you, but it's actually not reminiscent of Leicester last season because if you look, you're actually in 4th.
Oh, that's a shame. But hey, we still got time to make it up. But at least have some silverware.
That's what you said last season.
Hey.
The season before.
Hey, how did your trips to Wembley go, by the way?
Guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Sweet and Sour Sauce.
That is the episode, isn't it?
It's only 5 weeks in, and I'm 8 points clear. 8 point, guys.
Oh, it's going to be embarrassing when you fuck it up.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
And, mate, massive thanks for coming on, pal. And obviously, guys, make sure you go subscribe to Ant's channel as well. And all the other channels as well. But when it's Ant's week, as we always say, subscribe to the person at least that's on the show.
Any final words, Ant?
Appreciate it.
And we shall see you on the next one.